Hello world! This video is exactly as it says in the title, a dream hi-fi demo. I sometimes write my dreams down just because if they're quite poignant or whatever, or weird enough that I wake up and remember them in the morning, then I write them down. And this morning I found myself awake at about 1 a.m. after having had the most strange dream. In fact, if I were a little less mentally stable than I am, or a little more mentally unstable, I'd be thanking God for once again ignoring COVID-19 and giving me a dream that I could make a video about. So there you go. So yeah, I write my dreams down, and yesterday, or last night as it were, I dreamt about a hi-fi demo. I've never dreamt about having a hi-fi demo before. I've dreamt about some other things that might be quite interesting at some stage to a YouTube audience. I dreamt about John Lennon and Paul McCartney and being in their studio once, so there you go. Want to hear about that dream? Then give us a like or a comment in the box below. So yeah, here's my dream that I dreamt about. I've got it on my iPad, so excuse me if I look down or look away. So it's the 20th of October 2020, as in the day that is today. I dreamt I was volunteering in my local Audio T hi-fi store. For some reason, on the day I was there, the shop was packed with visitors and there were very few staff. Now, you know what dreams are like. They never ever really make sense, and I mean there were loads of other things going on in the dream as well, so this is just kind of a straight kind of A to Z of this particular episode of Dream. All right. There was also a lot more going on there. There was, I think there were record racks and sheet music and all kinds of things there. And it just happened to be that I saw this hi-fi thing and I was volunteering there to demonstrate some equipment. So incidentally, none of the real Audio T staff were in my dream. So, you know, I know a few of the Audio T staff by name at any rate in Brighton, and none of them were there. And one member of staff in particular resembled an old college lecturer I had called Chris Phelps, so I'll call him Chris here. Now, Chris Phelps is actually a wonderful person. He worked in the music department in Colchester Institute when I was a student there. On one side of the room, there were 3 distinct demo areas, and I decided to set up a cheap all-in-one hi-fi stack system connected to Rager RX5 speakers via bell wire in area 1 in the right-hand demo area. RX5s are actually very expensive £2,000 odd speakers, and you know, to take a cheap kind of, you know, crappy few quid sort of 80s stack system and connect it to those especially via cheap bell wire might seem like the worst thing to do, but it kind of shows up every single wart and foible in the equipment that you're testing. So although this is a dream and I'm telling you it's a dream, you're learning stuff as well. Okay, so yeah, to do this, I was shuffling on my knees. I can remember just being on my knees the whole time. The CD I was using was Bowery Songs by Joan Baez. Now, I had intended to actually get it. If you'd excuse me, I will. So, here it is, Bowery Songs by Joan Baez. And I can actually remember seeing this CD cover in my dream. All right, back with the narrative. So the CD I was using was Bowery Songs by Joan Baez, which was a live gig recorded in 2003 or 4. Maybe I should have just checked that. Okay. I chose it as it was for sale in the store and I had it at home, so I knew it well. The song I was playing was Rex Roth's Daughter, one of my favourites. It's a lovely song actually, Rex Roth's Daughter. It's amazing how in some dreams, you know, things are just so etched in your memory, you know, and so etched in real life as well, but just a little bit surreal. So yeah, the song I was playing was Rex Roth's Daughter, one of my favourites. The sound was, as I predicted, thin, tinny and nasty, and you couldn't really hear it as the amp in the stack system was so tiny and there were so many people bustling around the large demo room. Next, I set up the Saturn-R, Elicit-R RX5 CD amp speakers, and the sound was, as I knew well from my home setup, deep, spacious, highly detailed, rhythmic and entertaining. And again, I was shuffling on my knees. Finally, in an area to the left of the room was a digital streamer stroke amp system, so all in one but kind of a streamer thing, that looked like it was built like a tank with enough buttons to resemble a Boeing 767 flight deck. Okay, I never thought that in my dream, but I do remember thinking the buttons were quite intimidating. And notice that I said, I actually wrote in there, I said a 767 just to not upset the people that know that the 747 has been taken out of service due to the COVID pandemic, no longer economically viable. So there you go. Tried not to offend you too much. I can't remember its model name, but the number 1501 seems familiar, and I think the speakers were large tannoys. As part of the system, there was a monitor screen. I remember it because the DVD of Joan Bayer's Bowery Songs gig was playing. Also, there was no cable attached to the speakers. The 1501 had a light on it that seemed to be pulling in speakers around it, so it was kind of a wireless thing, whatever, I don't know, but there was a light there and it kind of told you which speakers were connected. It also had Bowery Songs preloaded because at some point Rexroth's daughter started playing and I had to stop the Rega system from playing the same song. So yeah, they was going at the same time. The sound from this system was amazing. I was staggered at how quiet, in quotes, it was. The noise floor seemed to drop and each instrument was etched very firmly into its own space. On the monitor screen, Joan Baez would look to her left at a musician, and a tambourine would start playing, carved in the space exactly where she was looking. I was still on my knees fiddling around, but in this area there were a few sofas set up, but behind the speakers. I found Chris Phelps and asked him how much the 1501 streamer system was, and he became very vague. He pulled the lid off and told me I would need an extra module, which he taped to the main board with brown parcel tape. He said something about the price being £1,570, but he was putting a markup on it to £1,750. I wasn't sure if that was with the extra module or without it. I never did find out. Of course, I was worried about charging a lot of money for a box that had a cardboard module that looked like a cereal packet stuck in with sticky tape, but there was no denying the sound. I decided to repeat my test on some ladies, so I called them over to Area 1. I remember fiddling with the buttons on the stack system and queuing up the wrong song, but I got it playing the right one in the end. After demoing all three, the ladies were enjoying the music definitely. I can't remember what their reactions to the actual systems were though, and this is another thing really, isn't it? You know, you buy hi-fi to listen to music. You don't buy it to kind of marvel at the system that you've got. And I suppose, you know, having a cardboard bit stuck in with sticky tape kind of, you know, gives kind of some sort of credence to the snake oil theory that, you know, even in my iPad here, I mean, there are probably extremely cheap components in here that, you know, are absolutely nothing but stick the badge on and, you know, you've got something that you can suddenly charge a lot of money for. Finally, I got my ex-partner to try out my test. I knew I'd have to be quick because although he has many lovely qualities, I never managed to enthuse him over hi-fi systems or cameras for that matter. By the time we got to System 3, he was thoroughly bored and picked up a brochure that was lying around and sat on one of the sofas. These were on the wrong side of the speakers, so I said, "You're supposed to sit on this side with me," but he replied, "I'll just sit over here." I played the streaming setup again and was still amazed. By now I had the lyric booklet open and was following that and the screen. I tried to get more information from Chris about the price, but he just began putting the sale through the till as if I was going to buy it. He actually took my card, as I remember. I knew that the money wasn't in the bank, so I stopped him before they declined my card. And that's the end of what I wrote about that dream. It's probably not the end of the dream, and it's probably not entirely accurate, but it's, you know, I think it's, you know, quite amazing really how we do dream about our own lives and things. And, you know, to kind of cap it all off really, I checked Facebook this morning, as I quite often do, and there was Joan Baez on my timeline sort of saying vote him out with a, you know, a Donald Trump sign, as it were. And yeah, so it's it's just really weird, really weird, but actually quite interesting. And again, you know, there is another lesson in this, and that is that particularly with audio visual systems, we can be easily fooled into thinking that what we're listening to is absolutely top notch, when if you were to take the visual element away, you wouldn't necessarily have it. And that can even be demonstrated on something like an iPad here. You know, go onto YouTube and find a pop video where the band are performing, and you'll suddenly find yourself, as the cameras move around the studio sort of focusing on different instrumentalists, you'll suddenly find yourself hearing things that weren't there, even on the tiny sort of fake stereo speakers that are on this iPad 7th generation, you know, just because you're getting the visual cues as well as the audio cues. So yeah, just, you know, be slightly aware if you're in the market for ever buying an audio visual system. You know, close your eyes or put on a CD that has no kind of visual stimulus to go with it, as it were. You know, this was, you know, a totally kind of fantastical situation, really, where you were somehow or other seeing her perform the music to a CD. I don't know how it happened, but there was this screen, and suddenly when you put a CD in or ripped a CD to it, it would show you a visual track as well. And it was weird. It was just weird, but it does show you that, you know, you do have to be just a wee bit careful, because I bet you if in the dream I'd closed my eyes, I would have kind of noticed that you know, perhaps the sound wasn't quite as amazing as, you know, the money might suggest. Although I think I was, you know, very, very impressed with it, you know, and I would have quite liked it, I'm sure, you know, particularly because, you know, just even for the fact that there were no cables involved from the actual unit to the speaker or to the speakers. So yeah, but, you know, it's weird. There you go. All right. So thumbs up if you like that video. Hit the notification bell. I don't say all those things normally because it really annoys me when they do. But yeah, I need the viewing figures, so hit the notification thing. If you want me to tell you about my Lennon and McCartney dream, give us a like and a comment in the description or whatever, in the feedback, and I will see you later. Bye bye.